My name is Chris Lunt and I'm a writer. To be one of the Brits this year, it's just a fantastic honour really. I mean, the problem with being a writer is that you do work in absolute isolation most of the time and you don't know whether you're doing well or doing badly. And 9 times out of 10, you're getting knockbacks because that's the deal basically. So to get something like this is kind of being recognised that you actually have made the right life choices and that your career's heading in the right direction. And it's just it's a fantastic thing to meet other people that have kind of been through similar struggles, even if it's in different industries, and just chat and realise that all that time you sat at your desk completely on your own, it was for something. One thing that I do a lot of is through social media, I try to give people advice that are coming up the ladder. And I think this is a great example that, there are success stories that people do make it. One of the big things that I often see writers that are perhaps a little bit more inexperienced than me is that they often say, it's a closed shop and that it doesn't happen. And I think that, my story, the fact that this is the first thing I've ever, kind of had made on TV, it just demonstrates that people aren't born with that commission under the belt. It can happen. I'm very excited about the kind of what I'm thinking of as the 5 golden tickets where you can get introduced to people within the industry. The doors that are open to us there aren't necessarily open to me right now. You only need to look at what the guys that were on it last year accomplished afterwards. There were people there who went on to win 2 and 3 BAFTAs, and Don Mitchell's career just kind of skyrocketed. I'm sure that's in no small part because of his involvement in this programme. So it was just when I saw it and I looked into it, I can't understand why anyone who's kind of trying to break into the industry, whether it be games or writing or producing or anything, isn't trying to get onto that program. I really can't. If I wasn't a writer, I would be an unemployed writer because there's nothing else I really want to do. I remember being 6, 7 years old and writing plays, but it wasn't something that was necessarily available to me. I didn't go to university. I come from a place called Horwich, not far from Bolton. I became an engineer from 16 to 26. I was like the world's worst lathe turner. But it was always a dream that I had. I started writing in about 2002. I was employed at the time, so I had kind of a livelihood. And then in 2010, I was made redundant. And I thought to myself, this is an opportunity with a bit of redundancy money behind me to maybe give it a go. And it was one of those situations where I went to my partner, who's now my wife, and said, been made redundant, but I think I'll give it a go as a TV writer. And thank God she backed me up. And very quickly after that, I pitched Prey to Nicola Schindler. And we got it moving. So ultimately, it's kind of paid dividends. But what I think happened with me was, it was when it had to happen that it happened. And I also stopped writing about aliens and time travel, which is an emerging writer is a very difficult thing to sell. Going back into the past, I was a massive Star Trek fan as a kid, a real Star Trek nerd. And what I still like to impart on people when I talk about why I'm a Star Trek fan is that those storylines were brilliant. The last thing very often that Star Trek dealt with was science fiction stories. It dealt with stories about race and sexuality and class, and then Next Generation came and did the same thing as well. So I am a massive science fiction nerd. The first film I ever saw at the cinema was Flash Gordon, and I've still got a massive kind of affection for it today. Really kitsch, 1980, whatever it was, Sam Jones as Flash Gordon. So whenever that's on, if I ever come across that, when I'm scouting the channels, I'll always sit down and watch it. I'm working on The Saint. I'm working with a writer called Ed Whitmore on that. I've got a really good relationship with ITV now, so I'm doing I've just written a script for them called Dreamland. All these are script commissions, nothing's greenlit yet. And of course, we are trying to crack Prey 2.